Hey, welcome to Behind the Play. So a big question for this LAN is, how are teams going to be able to beat NiP? It's a great question. If I knew the answer, I'd probably be competing. But here are some of the questions I think teams are asking themselves. And better yet, here's the process I'd expect these teams to be operating in preparation for the LAN. So first, how do you beat a team? Well, one of the things you can do if you're amongst the pros is watch your competition's demos. What a world we live in. Watching this one game that NiP played against Virtus Pro shows so much about their defensive style on Dust 2, at least for against this team, and could possibly give a team a lot of information on how to prepare themselves offensively, strat-wise, to pull off gun rounds. So take a look. Here we see friberg soloing the B site. His method? Have his teammate exist, smoke the tunnels, then friberg can play up close and peek through that gap between the boxes and the tunnels. And obviously this is just to look for that walk rush and also possibly spot for lurkers. An interesting thing to note is that after only maybe about 5 seconds, friberg falls back every time to the site, literally back into the site at that box or just towards the back of flat, then refreshes the smoke, peeks for some info, and then goes passive. So during this entire setup, Exist rotates out of B right off the bat, leaving just the one gun defending the site and a huge opportunity for an offensive team to sweep the site with, let's say, a 3-2 split. We can actually see friberg react to this exact situation later in the game, where he's forced to peek the tunnels. Honestly, he does a great job getting 2 of the frags, but eventually gets bogged down and overwhelmed by the swarm of the T's that flank at window getting the best of him. So I think teams going into the playoffs are paying close attention to setups, specifically defensive ones, to prepare their offensive counter strategies. So try to consider some other ways to beat this solo gun B setup. Does your team have an AWPer? Why don't you try clearing the back of plat or smoking it, and then letting the AWP peek the site? This one pick onto just friberg would clear the entire half of the map and get your team at least a plant. You could also work off of the timing that friberg falls into. We know that they throw one smoke, and just a quick 5 seconds after, he is so much more likely to have been rotated all the way towards the back of site. Try setting up some smokes and flashes and go for a delayed rush. Obviously, it's a million times easier said than done, but this is some insight on how NiP's competition are likely thinking going into this event. So a lot to think about, a lot to watch this weekend at the ESEA LAN Finals. Be sure to check out all of your Twitch streaming coverage at ESEAnews.com.